everyone, it's You Got Nerfed and welcome back to the channel. And this is a video review of the Dart Zone Adventure Force Cricket Pro, a spring-powered, high-powered, basically a Jolt, but it shoots like over 100 FPS. Let's get into the review. Interesting. We'll start off with a blaster overview, as always. We'll go over with its features like this as opposed to a standard overview. This is kind of a weirdish blaster to really go over. So this is in its compact form. It's supposed to be portable and supposed to be just there as an emergency blaster that you can simply flip out, right? This bottom piece comes up, this comes out, and then boom, this is the blaster in its full form. And then you're able to literally compact it just like this for storage or for portability reasons. So we'll go over the blaster as a blaster overview like this. So starting up front, a no-end strike barrel lug, surprisingly. Up front is a Dart Zone rail. I don't know what the heck you're going to put on there. You probably could get away with an optic on there and it would look fine. Getting around to back, it looks like a very tiny slinger lanyard point. You could use it on there, but I probably would not recommend putting this on a sling or a lanyard at all. Just carry it in your pocket. Down to the grip. Grip is well oversized, holds my hand very well proportionate to the blaster. It's as vertical of a grip as you can get, and it covers the entire thing, which is pretty cool. This ring thing in the middle, I'm not entirely sure as its purpose. It's good for spinning, and I think it's good for like hanging on stuff if you want to display it, but I don't know the other purpose for that besides acting as a ball joint for this thing right here, which is probably its main purpose right there. Getting down to the trigger, I don't really like this trigger at all, but I don't know how else they would put on the trigger on the system. It's this small, very little thing here, and it's small enough that you can fit one finger on there, but I find myself squeezing it with two fingers just by the natural point of my grip here. But it's not really, doesn't feel very good. Does it work very well? Yes. But it just doesn't feel good. I'm not a fan of this trigger, but it works, so I guess complaint is somewhat relevant maybe with that. Getting down to the bottom, this is the priming handle to prime. You do that, excuse the dry firing sound, and then you're ready to fire at once. This is an extremely high power blaster for something like that. And this bottom piece as well can fold just down like that as far as it for storage and compatibility sake, and just looks tactical just to flip it out like that, and boom, you got from a concealed blaster to a full-on blaster. There's other two features here. There is basically a safety on the blaster. I don't know why you need a safety on something like this, but you can completely lock up the trigger like that if you wanted to, and then you just flip it back up. This is located on the left hand side only, because on the right hand side is this little lock for this thing right here, which I don't think is very necessary, because you can go ahead and just break that mechanism just by simply pushing down a little bit, and you can still override this. There's really no, actually, when you push it down, you actually feel this lock thing go in, so whether you push it or not, you're still activating this barrel lock is what I'm going to call it, this little barrel lock system, and you push it down and you're able to lock it up. The capacity of the blaster is supposed to be 1. However, I had found with these short little darts, and it shoots half-length darts only, by the way. I can't see putting in a full-length dart into here. I have been able to put in up to 3 darts in the barrel, because there's no stoppage as to how far it goes, except for 3 of them just take up the length of the barrel like that. Right, so you will see at the firing demo me firing 1 dart, 2 darts, and then 3 darts out of this system. And this is actually so good that I have to fire it out of there. It's not even gonna, you tilt down the blaster and the darts aren't even gonna fall in. Once it's in there pretty good. They have the right diameter to squeeze the barrel around the dart, not so tight that it can't eject out of there. Very interesting mechanics as far as this. I'm interested to see how well this fired. As through my firing demo, fired very, very well. I'm quite surprised by this blaster. Let's get to a firing demo. Shooting one dart at a time with the Adventure Force Ember darts. We're going to use the same dart types, but now we're going to fire 2 darts at once. 1 and 2. Lastly, we're only going to do 1 shot at this, but we're going to load this up with 3 half-length darts at a time. Well, all the darts just came right back to me, so we'll get another shot of that off. Analysis and conclusion of the Cricket Pro. This is a very interesting blaster to review. Fired very, very well, no jams or malfunctions, and fired multiple projectiles incredibly well through it. So for the Chrono data, shooting 1 dart at a time, fired, I lied about the 100 FPS a little bit, it fired about 86 feet per second on average with 1 dart. That's fine. That's a little bit lower than what we're expecting from the Dart Zone primaries and Adventure Force primaries. Actually, it's pretty low, and most of them are up in the hundreds, if not 200 FPS. But for a backup pistol blaster, that's actually pretty darn good, right? That's on par with Nerf primaries in a blaster, and for shooting high-powered darts, that's reasonable. I could see this being way too overpowered if they did shoot it at like 120 FPS out of something like this. That would just be absolutely insane to shoot it like that. Would we want it? Yes, but would there not be a purpose for some of the primaries? Yeah. Shooting 2 darts at once, I surprisingly got an average of 74 feet per second, and I could tell that if you shoot it through my chronograph, that both projectiles, when fired out 2 darts at once, to get that reading of 74, as opposed to it giving me an error or something with too many projectiles through it, both the projectiles were moving almost exactly at the same speed and velocity that it was able to get a clear reading. And that's what it is. The power behind this blaster, for even with the numbers behind it, is still a lot. Even though that it's not giving a whole lot of velocity, but for 2 darts, 74 feet per second for a 2-dart blaster, in a normal Nerf blaster, that would be almost impossible. And to get it up to, in Nerf turn, primary standards as far as this is a Dart Zone blaster, a high-power blaster, 74 feet per second compared to 86, with shooting 2 projectiles at once, that's pretty darn good. And I'm not even sure, I didn't do the research of the blaster, if this was designed to do 2 or 3 darts at once, or shoot 2 at once, if that is, or if that's just something I discovered with the length of the barrel. It feels like that it is supposed to, but I could also totally see if it was not supposed to, and it just happens to. That's pretty good. Shooting 3 darts at once, surprisingly, got 56 feet per second out of this, which is still pretty darn good. Any 3-shot blaster out of like anything from Nerf isn't going to shoot probably more than like 30 feet, right? Just because of the power that is needing to distribute between a whole bunch of different ones, unless you get into mega blasters where they're shooting 2 at once, or there's some other Nerf blaster shoot at once, but there's so much power that it's in a primary. For a backup blaster shooting multiple projectiles at once, that's actually pretty darn good. I'm quite impressed with this blaster. So if you need something as an emergency backup pistol and you're still playing those high-powered games, right, the 100 FPS to 120 FPS, this could still classify as a good backup. It's very portable, which I love this. this. Yes, you can just set this on the belt and then just whip it out when you need it, put in the ammo, boom, and it's basically a Jolt, right? It's Dart Zone's version of a Jolt, right? Was it needed? I don't exactly think that it was, but it does what it's supposed to very well, and you can shotgun load if you need it. Yes, you need 2 shots. Now, it's not going to be a true shotgun spread as far as what we could tell, but because the rounds are way too close together, it's almost as close as like the rifle Atlas with the 2 shot on that. The grouping is at almost as close as that. That it doesn't really classify as a true shotgun. You can just dump in there and you're guaranteed almost 2 hits with it. So if you need multiple hits on a target, if they'll let you, you can put in 2 bullets at that, and instead of it spreading, if it's a close target, you can fire 2 shots at once instead of 2 from your primary. You can put in 2 shots in this at like 74 feet per second, and you'll probably hit what you're getting at and get 2 hits out of it. There's some benefits and some uses for shotgun loading something like this, and I think that's a very cool feature, whether it's intended or not. I think that that's something incredible about this. My opinion on this blaster, I think, is pretty positive. I'm pretty excited about this blaster, pretty impressed with what it can do. My only real objective thing is, was it really necessary? Probably not. I don't think darts, as far as like these single shot half-length darts, were needing another single shot blaster when you've got like Dart Zone Pro Mark III or whatever the pistol version of that one is, which I think is a bit superior to that. I forgot what blaster that one is, but I don't think that this one was particularly needed, but I'm glad that it came out. It's just like the Jolt. The Jolt made itself a staple. I feel like that this is now going to make itself a staple in the hobby, but is it for good or for bad? I don't know. I would like to not see 10 million remakes of this, just like the Jolt does. If Adventure Force / Dart Zone starts doing this, then we'll probably have an issue. But if this is a one-off type of thing, which so far it looks like that it is, then this could play a significant role in the hobby. But it would become irrelevant once everything starts becoming something like this, like a Jolt. Yes, the joke is everything is a Jolt reskin, but sometimes the original Jolt, and especially this Cricket, it serves its own purpose, but we don't need 10 million copies of it, if you know where I'm trying to get at this. So, would I recommend this to people? If you're looking for a decent backup blaster for your half-length dart game, if that's what you're trying to do, this could be an option for you. If not, I'd say check out the, what is it, like Mark II, I believe, the pistol version, Dart Zone Mark II, and that can serve as a really good option as well, shooting half-length darts for more capacity with this. But this, if you need something that is easily concealed that can still serve the purpose of a backup blaster, this will do very, very well. I'd love to hear you guys' comments on this blaster. I saw this blaster and I'm like, I had to get this. This would be very interesting to review. Like I said, my only complaints is really the trigger, but nothing really to circle back to go over that. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.